Most of the movie takes place about a decade later in the 1750s when he's in his early 20s. He's a very ambitious guy.
I love seeing that ambition. I love seeing his journey. I love
Yeah.
seeing his flaws. I love seeing his mistakes, big mistakes.
Due to the fact that he's a colonist and due to his social status, he is not allowed to receive formal education.
They didn't expect you to know much going into it. You didn't have to know much about the French and Indian War. You didn't really have to know much about George Washington per se.
He is not allowed to become a commissioned officer in the military, but these are things that he aspires to be, and he doesn't let the conventional rules of society get in the way. Welcome to Hate to See It with Mike and Sid, the talk show where we bring you a new movie review each week. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sid.
Guys, I don't like to beg, but this is a dire situation. Our Supergirl review only got 12 views. It's by far our lowest viewed review ever. The YouTube algorithm decides how much it's going to push out a video based on engagement. And there's a variety of things that go into that, but you can really help us out by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and commenting on our videos. That will all increase the engagement and help YouTube push this video out to more people so we can grow our audience. I'm not going to dwell on that any longer. I don't like doing that, but I really appreciate it. All right. So, with that out of the way, Sid, how was your holiday weekend, your 4th of July weekend?
No complaints. It was all right.
It's just all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it was just all right. What about yours, Mike?
I had an amazing holiday weekend. It was nice and relaxing. I kicked it off actually, watching the movie that we're going to be discussing, Young Washington, with my family. Saw it on Friday afternoon, and I was surprised. It was a sellout.
Wait, so you saw 4th of July, right? Or no?
Just July 3rd,
Oh, it's July 3rd.
but it
Okay,
was the
cool.
federal holiday because
That's true.
so um,
How was that experience?
it was interesting to say the least. I went with my parents and my brother, and we get there a little bit early. We get some snacks at the concessions, and we're about to head into the theater. And my mom realizes that she had left something in the car, so I go to get it. Now, keep in mind, I have the tickets on my phone because I purchased them
Sure.
through my AMC account. But I tell them where the seats are.
Your
So they go,
A-list account.
yeah, my A-list account. So I tell them where the seats are. I tell my brother, and they go to sit down, and then I go to get this from the car. I come back a few minutes later, and I see my family, and they're not sitting in our seats because my seats that I reserved were in the middle of an aisle, and they're
Okay.
sitting at the side of the aisle, and they're like, they say to me, these people were sitting in our seats, and they said they had the tickets, and they showed us the tickets. Now, actually, that
They
was
had
my
purchase
understanding. That was
tickets?
my understanding at the time.
Yeah.
But what actually happened is they sat down first, and in the seats that I told them to sit down in, and then these
Sure.
people came and said, "We have these tickets." And since they didn't have the tickets, because I had them on my phone, they
Yep.
didn't argue with them, so they just gave them up. They thought maybe they misheard me or something.
Wait, they looked at their tickets though, or no? After they got up?
So the people, my understanding is the people came into
Yeah.
the row and said, "These are our tickets," and they showed them the tickets.
Okay. Got
So
you.
so my family got up and they were like, maybe Michael told us the wrong thing, or maybe we misheard him, or
Yeah.
whatever. So I get there, um, and
You're probably so confused.
I go talk to these people, and I say like, look, I have these tickets. I show them to them, and they show me their tickets, and we have the same seats. It's the same showing, same movie, same time. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to a manager. And I did, and the manager comes back, very nice guy, and he first goes and talks to those people, and I can only hear part of the conversation because I'm
Sure.
standing at the end, and I can hear him like saying like we can give you free tickets, free popcorn if you give up the seats. And keep in mind, this movie was a sellout. The only rows that were not taken were the two rows in the very front of the theater where you have to go like, which I don't even know why they have those rows.
Yeah.
Every other seat was taken except for, well, there were actually were there were two seats in the same row that were not taken, and there were a couple seats in the aisle that has wheelchair seats in it
Hmm.
that were not taken, but other than that, every other seat was taken. And these people were like, "No, we're not moving. These are our tickets." So then the guy comes to me and he explains like, "Look, I know there's four of you, but you can take those two seats in the same row, and two you can sit up a couple more rows closer, and I'll give you two free movie tickets for the future." And two free popcorns for the future. And we're like, fine. So we agreed to that. Um, it was kind of a little interesting situation. Honestly, it kind of stressed me out.
I can picture you being stressed during this.
I didn't mild. It was like
Uh,
a 4 or 5 out of 10 on the stress level,
okay.
but enough to raise the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Um,
Your
and
Apple
and
Watch is
we had
probably
to sit next to these people too, because the two open seats were right next to them. And
that's awkward.
yeah, at the beginning of the movie, I was like not looking forward to it. It kind of put a damper on it, but I'll get into that a little
You,
bit
sh-
more.
you should have kept mumbling like curse words underneath your breath.
So that was the kickoff to the 4th of July weekend. But it ended up all working out, and the rest of the weekend was good
Alexa, stop.
times, hanging out.
Okay.
We celebrated my mom's birthday,
Happy
uh,
belated.
and we hung out in the pool and watched some World Cup and some Yankees
Cool.
games, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you had a great 4th of July weekend.
Thank you.
And at the end of the day, you got two free tickets and two free popcorn. You love to see it, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to use them on the Odyssey,
Nice.
which is coming up.
Sure is. My 1 year anniversary of seeing a movie each week straight for a year.
Oh, it's a big deal.
It is.
It's a nice movie to celebrate that
It
milestone
is.
with.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, did you intend for it to work out that way, or just worked out that way?
What's his name? Odysseus?
Odysseus.
Yeah, he reached out to me a long time ago and said, "This is
Oh,
the way."
it was prophesized.
Yep, sure it was. All right, Mike, thank you for sharing that story, but let's get right into it. Let's get right into our first segment, which, what is it this week? I always forget. I can't
It's
keep up
cast
with these things.
question, and
Cass?
we've been previewing this for a while. We're going to change it up a little bit.
Oh, so
And
this is already one of the new ones?
yes, we're going to team
Wow.
up. We're going to team up together and try to figure it out. See if we can get the right answer by working together.
We're gonna stump Cast.
So let me pull that up.
What's up, everybody? It's Cass from Throwbacks with the Technodrome, and you know what time it is here on Hate to See with Mike and Sid. It's time for Cass Question. True or false? George Washington has appeared on the $1 bill since it was first introduced in 1862.
All right, we got a true or false one.
We do.
Uh,
And you sure this is not a competition, right? With you and I.
yes, I am sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because he told us he would do it with the young Washington
Cool.
question. Um, we have a 50-50 chance.
Yes, that's true and false. 50-50.
I
What are you leaning towards? What's your initial gut reaction, Mike?
my all right. My initial gut reaction was false because I was thinking they would maybe do something weird. But this is like, what did he say? It was 1860 something?
Yeah, like 1862,
It's
maybe?
like, why wouldn't you put George Washington? Who else would you do besides George
Could it be
Washington?
like a Native American person?
But this is like the first time they put someone on the dollar bill.
Is it true? Is that when dollar bills came out? 1860s?
That's what it says according to the question.
Oh, he said that?
I mean, do
Maybe
we
you're
want to
right.
review what he said?
I
I
know it's
mean,
right. It's right. We
they might have
shouldn't.
been coins. They might have been coins before then.
Interesting. But
I
why is he
mean,
at? Yeah.
I think I want to say true, but I'm not confident in that. But
Yeah, no, I'm not confident either. I could see it being someone else, and then eventually they're like, let's celebrate the freaking guy who started this country, right?
yeah.
I don't know. What do you want to go with? I'll go with your. You
I
said true, right? All
want to say true.
right, let's just go for it.
All right, let's see what it is.
And the answer to that question is false. Salmon P. Chase appeared on the $1 bill from its introduction in 1862 until George Washington replaced him in 1869. And if you didn't get that one right, here's a penny for your thoughts. Actually, they don't even make pennies anymore, and you probably didn't know who was on it anyway. Back to you, Mike and Sid.
But you got
I'm
stumped.
pissed about that.
Because I was saying, why would
I
he
know who
ask that,
Salmon
right?
Chase is. I mean, that
Who
makes
was I don't
sense.
know. Who was that
He
guy?
was a treasurer. I think he was
Uh,
so it makes sense you would put him on the $1 bill. But and Abraham Lincoln is on the penny. So you're not stumping us on that one.
Was he
Um,
always on the penny, or was someone else
I don't
first?
know.
Yeah.
There are other pennies that he's not on. There was a wheat penny. I know that's a famous penny
Hmm.
that you can collect.
Yeah, I
But
used to collect these old coins back in the day.
yeah, I did too. Coins are
Fun
pretty cool,
times.
actually. Oh, he got us.
He did.
I said my gut was false.
Oh, you did? I
I
thought I
yeah,
said
I said
President.
that I said that was my first instinct. You asked me what my first
Yeah,
instinct
and
was.
you said false.
I said false. We should
Oh,
have
and
just
then we
gone with
change it.
that.
Yeah, that's why I said first instinct.
Because last time he what was the last question he asked us? It was because Supergirl, it wasn't a trivia question. But then the week before that, Toy Story,
Oh, who passed away?
I don't remember.
Who knows?
But
Got
recently
us.
it was not. Sometimes he does trick question, or sometimes he tries to trick us.
Yes.
Sometimes he does obvious. So it's hard. Ugh.
All right, well, let's get into our review. Thank you,
Oh,
cast.
thank you, Casta. That was a good one. You got us.
Yep. Till
One to
next time.
nothing. Until next time. So that brings us to our next segment, the 60-second setup.
Yep, let's do it, Mike. You're gonna go this week, 60 second or less. Clock starting now.
All right. This movie is basically a George Washington origin story. We see him as a boy when his father passes away and his half brother comes home to raise him. Most of the movie takes place about a decade later in the 1750s when he's in his early 20s. He's a very ambitious guy. Due to the fact that he's a colonist and due to his social status, he is not allowed to receive formal education. He is not allowed to become a commissioned officer in the military, but these are things that he aspires to be, and he doesn't let the conventional rules of society get in the way. And we see him in this movie. Just he's not afraid to ask for what he wants. Doesn't matter who he's talking to. He doesn't take no for an answer. And we see him get this opportunity because of how hardworking and ambitious he is to go into the Ohio Territory, survey that territory. He encounters some Indians and the French, and we see this ultimately lead to the first battles in the French and Indian War, and that is set up for the movie.
Perfect. That was like 70 seconds, so not that bad actually.
Okay.
That was the first time I actually kept track.
All right. Not too bad.
Yep, I got my clock. I can't see it, but there you go.
So I guess that will bring us to our next segment, initial reactions. Tell me what your initial reactions were, Sid.
All right, initial reactions. Honestly, I don't know if I needed this movie. Do I really care about George Washington? Yes, he's the first president. I'm sure I've learned a lot about him during school. I've honestly forgotten a lot about that stuff. I imagine he's probably appeared in some video games back in the day as well. Probably in Assassin's Creed. I could be wrong. But again, I wasn't really pumped to see this movie. You were more pumped. So I was kind of just watching it to watch it so we can review it. But initially, I liked that, again, this is young Washington, as you had mentioned. So what I did like about this film is I'm seeing a side that I was never familiar about his failures and all that stuff. So I was intrigued to learn more about his past before he became president of the great United States.
All right. My initial reaction is, as I mentioned earlier, when this movie was about to start, I was a little bit anxious because of everything that happened in the lead up with these people that had the same seats as me. And then the credits, opening credits come up, and I'm like, oh man, do I really want to sit through this historical drama right now? But then the movie, like very quickly in the opening scene, it captivated me, and I was hooked the whole time. I had a great time throughout the movie. So
Okay,
that's my initial reaction.
cool. All right, let's go to our next segment. Probably one of my favorite segments, the Hate to See It's. The segment where you and I share two things each that we did not necessarily love from this film.
Well, for the second week in a row, Sid, I only have one hate to see it, but I
Oh,
did
you
kind of
truly
bunch a
hate to
few
see
things
it.
up. I bunched a few things up,
So
so
should I go first, and
you can
then
go. Yeah, yeah,
I'll go first.
yeah.
So one thing, and I've talked about this before, I hate romance in films and TV shows. I don't need romance. I've got enough romance in my life, so I don't need to see other people living it. And if you're going to show me romance, make it pretty steamy, make it good. So I'm talking about the romance he had with, was it Sally Fairfax or something
Sally
like that?
Fairfax, yes.
They introduced, she's probably one of the earlier characters they introduce you to. I think in the film, maybe I'm wrong, but you meet her pretty early on when he's trying to sneak into this event where his brother's at. It was actually a pretty funny scene the way they interacted together. Right? You
Hmm.
could tell they're flirting and they have some sort of connection. But truthfully, it really didn't go anywhere. There was no payoff at the end. I do think, not think, I do remember that they kiss, right? I'm
Yeah,
pretty
they
confident.
did kiss,
Yeah,
yes.
they did kiss, and then I don't know if we ever see her again. Maybe
No, we
do,
don't.
but I don't recall. So it was like,
Well, we see her when it is announced by Kelsey Grammer's character that she's going to marry this other guy.
oh, so it just at the so that sucks, right? He kisses her, and the payoff is she's not even gonna marry him,
Yeah.
right? I guess they never even dated. They
They kind of
just
had this secret romance
was it
going
romance or
on.
just a kiss that they just had? Who
I think
knows?
I think it was a romance.
But at the end of the day, like I didn't need it. Right? You could put so much more stuff in this film. Give me more George Washington. Give me more battle scenes. I didn't need a romance that just led to her marrying someone else and poor Georgie being C blocked.
So I'm going to disagree with you there, Sid.
You
I
would.
found the romance to be wholesome and sweet. It's also true. You can you can actually read George Washington's love letters to Sally Fairfax. She was his first love before he met Martha Washington. And it kind of just ties in with the whole theme of the movie that there are certain things that he is kept out of because of his social status and the fact that he's a colonist. So he could not be with his first love, and it kind of seems like is kind of it's not her choice about who the man that she ultimately is going to marry, and who
Well, it
seems
wasn't back then, right? A lot of
a
times.
lot of times it was not, and he seemed to be a lot older than her. So it's kind of a tragic story, but it's true, and I liked it.
It's true, and I understand where you're coming from. At the end of the day, it's one of the greatest presidents of all time.
Hmm.
Give us more other stuff.
All right.
That's my complaint. Let's see yours.
My hate to see it. My one hate to see it is gonna. It really has three parts, but they're all connected. I'm gonna say the movie at times is corny. There's a line early in the movie when his half brother is teaching him how to play chess, where he says, "Even a pawn can take a king."
Oh yeah.
Which is like, oh, I see what
Hmm.
you're foreshadowing there. It's a cool line. It's clever, even though it's obvious what is meant by it. But then it's repeated two more times in the movie. It's like, okay, we got it the first time. You don't need to repeat it two more times. So I thought that was corny. And plus, at this point in George's life, he is not anti-British. He wants to be among the British. So it's like, why are we foreshadowing that he's going to take down the king when that's not an ambition of his yet in this
Hmm.
stage of his life? So that being, I just thought it was corny. The other two things I thought were corny were happened at the end of the movie. Spoilers, I guess, but this is based on real events.
And this is a
He
spoiler section.
Yes, he wins this battle early on in the French and Indian War after his first battle was disastrous, but his second battle he leads them to victory. Well, not even victory, but he ends up saving a lot of his men.
He's a hero.
He's a hero, and he has this interaction with the Indians at the end where I
Oh,
forget what exactly is said to him, but
yeah.
the Indian says like essentially that it was prophesized that there would be
Yes.
this like superhero. Like he speaks of him like he's this messianic figure, and I was like, okay, that's over the top. Um,
Because they try to shoot him right and they miss or something or guns.
yeah, well that I'm gonna get more of that into that in the
Yeah.
love to see it
Okay.
actually.
Cool.
But and then there's a scene just a little bit later on where he comes back to Virginia, speaking with what was the governor's name? The actor who played the governor, the famous actor, who's in like
Kelsey Grammer.
not Kelsey Grammer,
Oh, Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley. Ben Kingsley, and he says to Ben Kingsley's character, um,
The
like
king takes a
it's like
punt.
it
What
was
is it?
like I was blessed or something. Maybe I was blessed by
Yeah.
God or something like that. And Ben Kingsley's like, maybe you think maybe like that's obviously not a direct quote, but again, it's like
Mhm.
the movie shows us doing extremely heroic things at the end. And then there's these two scenes where the Indian and Ben Kingsley's character like say to us directly, like, wow, like it's like so amazing that he did these things. It's like he has divine powers. It's like he's a messianic
Yep.
figure. It's like we saw the movie, right? You could just let the movie speak for itself. You don't need to
True.
tell us these things. So that was just kind of an issue I had with the movie. I think those three things that I just referenced were kind of corny and
Okay.
kind of heavy-handed.
Corny, cool. So you talk about corny, I talk about George Washington's horniness, and next we're going to talk about another thing I disliked was the stunt casting, in my opinion. So I could be wrong, but most of the actors in this film, to me, were pretty unknown. Like I've never seen this actor play George Washington. I
He
don't know if
doesn't even
you've
have a Wikipedia article.
really
He's an English guy, by the way.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting. Good to know. But which is good. You don't want to cast a well-known actor, in
I
my
thought he was
opinion.
good, right?
No, he was good. Yes, he was good. He
Yeah.
was great. I have no complaints there. But if you're going to cast an unknown actor to play George, I feel like the other characters should be unknown. And the majority of the characters were unknown, right? His friends were unknown characters.
Yeah.
The girl, his lover was on whatever, she was unknown. I think she was unknown. But then you have these massive actors like Ben Kingsley, who we mentioned earlier. You also have Kelsey Grammer, who are pretty recognizable actors.
Yes.
And then the third one, who to us is very recognizable, but he can kind of go under the radar because he does a lot of voice acting. What's his name? What's his
Andy
name?
Serkis.
Andy Serkis. So I wasn't too bothered by Andy, but I feel like the other two actors just took me out of the scenes.
Hmm.
It just they were too famous. It kind of like again when you have unknown characters and then you have like this guy with gravitas, it really took it away from it. Took away the scene from me. Felt unbelievable. I just would have preferred the whole film be unrecognizable new actors. Just lean into that. I didn't need the Kelsey Grammer, especially Kelsey Grammer. He wasn't in there that much. He was
Well,
very
none of them were really.
yeah, but that's the point. If you're gonna barely use these actors, why are they there? So every time I would see them, it would take me out of the scenes.
Yeah,
So
I
that was
didn't
my
have a, I
complaint.
thought they all gave good performances, especially Andy Serkis, who I thought was
Yeah,
really
no,
good.
the performances I'm not knocking. The performances were great. It just I just hated seeing them on screen. I didn't
These
need it.
actors were all promoting the film. I mean, that's how you get people to see movies, you know?
Yeah,
You need
I
celebrity
guess.
names. I didn't have a problem with that, but
Yeah,
it's just
but I
personal
did.
taste.
It is personal taste. That's why you and I share different things.
All right, I guess that's it with Hate to See It.
It sure is. Let's get into our love to see it.
All right, it's just the opposite of Hate to See It. We give you two things that we each loved about the movie, and
Do you
I'll
have two?
kick. I do have two for Love to See
Nice.
It.
Let's go for it.
My first one is the surprising authenticity of the movie. And there's two components to that. I thought the costumes looked great. I thought the props looked great. I thought the locations looked great. I think it was really smart of them to shoot some of the movie in like Williamsburg, Virginia, so you don't have to build sets because it's all preserved from the
Hmm.
colonial eras. And it looked real. It looked authentic. It looked great for a pretty low budget movie. I think the movie was made on only $20 million. The other aspect is I left this movie with a lot of questions like, did that really happen? Because a lot of the stuff in the movie just seems kind of fake. Like maybe they were making it up, embellishing history a bit. And I did a little bit of research after I saw the movie, and most of it is accurate.
Mm.
George Washington, when he goes out on this expedition in the Ohio Territory, it is true that the militia that he was leading accidentally set off the French and Indian War. I was wondering about that. That is absolutely true. It is true that his friend Christopher Guest, he met him in a bar,
Hmm.
and he was a surveyor, and he is known for surveying the Ohio Territory, and he is known for saving George Washington's life on two occasions. That is true.
This is the guy that dies eventually.
He dies, yeah, towards the end of the movie. His romance with Sally Fairfax, as I mentioned earlier, is true.
Look at
Um,
you.
the he actually did get four bullet holes in his uniform.
Oh, really?
That is true. That's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
The one
From that one battle, or was it like multiple battles?
my understand that yeah, I just did brief research. My
Yeah,
understanding is that it's from that one battle, but
battle.
maybe you're right. Maybe it's from multiple battles.
Who knows? Divine intervention.
And the one thing that I looked up that was not true is, as I mentioned earlier, the scene with the Indians who tells him like he's prophesized or whatever. That actually comes from a myth about George Washington in the 19th century that is not true.
Hmm.
So they decided to take that myth and put it into the movie.
Wasn't he
But
a vampire hunter too? Oh, no, that's Lincoln, right? That was
that's
Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah. But the movie is pretty authentic
Okay,
from the little research I've done. So I love to see that.
cool. Well, thank you for sharing. I'm glad you did that research. It's
Hmm.
important. When you're gonna do a film about one of the goats, do your research. So I'm glad I did.
Yep.
So again, this film is called Young Washington, and I love that aspect. I loved Young Washington because I was not familiar with Young Washington's game or lack of game. I love seeing that ambition. I love seeing his journey. I love
Yeah.
seeing his flaws. I love seeing his mistakes, big mistakes. And his mother in the film, I forget the line, I'm not going to quote it, but she says something like, what
Even
did
a
she say?
pawn could take a king.
Yeah, even a pawn could take a king. But she basically said, like, are you gonna like learn from your mistake or just like dwell on it? I'm probably butchering
Yeah.
it, but something along those lines.
Yeah.
And that really, I think, set him on the course of like taking ownership of his failure and making it right. And it put him on the path of becoming a hero and saving all those people on the battlefield that he saved. So,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Were you saying something?
Well, finish your thought first, if you don't
No, I
mind.
just liked again at the end of the day that just seeing the ambitious side of George Washington and the beginnings of George Washington and just seeing his journey was something I would probably never followed up on. So I'm glad I got to see it through this film.
Well, Sid, a lot of what you just said overlaps with my second love to see it, so I'm just going to get right into
Go
it.
go into it.
I thought this was the perfect American story for Fourth of July weekend on our country's 250th birthday. Like you said, his ambition is remarkable. Um, he is told by his half brother that because of his social status, because of his the fact that he's a colonist, that he can't do the things that he dreams about doing, about being a proper gentleman. He can't go to school, so he educates himself. And he can't be a commissioned officer, so he volunteers.
Yep.
And he's just driven. He makes the most of what he is given. And I just think it's like the perfect American story for this weekend that we just had. Uh, and you didn't like the romance to this movie, but I liked that this movie really did have a little bit of everything. Has some romance, has some good drama, good action in the battle scenes. So it was like, and I saw this in a packed theater on the federal designated day for Fourth of July. And at the end of the movie, there's this message from Kelsey Grammer that I really liked about how.
The pawn takes the king.
This country is still worth fighting for. So it's just like it was like a really nice kickoff to Fourth of July, a really special weekend. So I love to see it.
It's smart they released it during that weekend, right?
Very smart.
Imagine they released it during Christmas, it wouldn't have hit as
It did
strong.
really well. It made $20 million domestic.
That's
Made
great.
more than a lot more than Supergirl.
It sure did. It sure did. Alrighty, Mike. So my last love to see it was a very accessible film. It didn't expect you to know much going into it. You didn't have to know much about the French and Indian War. You didn't really have to know much about George Washington per se. They kind of eased you into the whole thing through his experiences, George Washington's experiences. So in that aspect, like I enjoyed the fact that I could just relax, take it all in. I didn't have to ask a million questions. I didn't have to do research ahead of time. They made it very easy for the viewers. And
I totally agree with you. I mean, there's a bit of text that appears on the screen in the beginning of
yes,
the movie, just setting it up, but it's very easy to follow.
yeah,
Um,
it was an old-fashioned historical, accessible drama.
and there's actually some pretty complicated uh, politics that are going on between the British and the French, the British and the
Sure,
colonists, the different Indian tribes. And the movie didn't make that all feel complicated. It made it
correct.
all
Yeah,
feel very accessible.
yep. Accessible is the key.
So I totally agree with you there.
Cool. Glad we're on the same page.
All right. Why don't we get into our next segment? What if?
What if? This one I was struggling with. Usually, I feel like I have like two things, what ifs, and you come up really well on the spot with some what ifs. So I don't have any this week as of this moment. What about you, Mike? What ifs do you have?
I'm going to kind of copy a what if that I did with the movie Pressure.
Okay.
And with that one, if you remember, I said, like, what if there was a World War II cinematic universe?
Oh, yeah.
What if there was a founding
Fathers.
cinematic universe, founding fathers cinematic universe? It's actually already been announced. The director of this movie announced that there is going to be a sequel to this movie called 1776. So I'm looking
It's not
forward to
going to be
that.
called No More Young Washington. Not
No,
young.
I was thinking they could call it General Washington,
Oh, that's
and
a
then
good
they
one.
could make a President Washington, but they're calling it 1776.
Or Forever Young,
Forever young. But like I love movies set during this time period, and like World War II has a ton of stuff, a
for
ton of
sure.
movies, ton of shows.
Yeah.
Revolutionary War does not have nearly as many. I love the
Why is
John.
that actually? Because that's so important to our history.
I don't know. I love the John Adams miniseries on HBO.
Oh, yeah, that was a
I
great. Yeah.
rewatch that all the time. There's a few other things,
Yeah.
but there's not nearly as much. So I would just love it if they just went all in on this. I'd eat it all up.
Okay.
But that's
Who
all I
are,
got for what if.
cool. I really can't think of any, but I'm supportive of your what if.
All right. I guess that means it's time for the verdict.
Alrighty, Mike, you go for it.
I was kind of thinking about this because like we've had the discussion subjective versus objective are versus like what is our review supposed to be? Am
Yeah.
I supposed to be talking about my own personal preferences versus am I supposed to be talking about what I think everyone else wants to see? I think it's kind of a unsolvable problem, but this movie is just right up my alley. It's just made for me. I loved the whole movie. It is not a perfect movie at all. The corniness that I mentioned is in the movie, but I love the story. I love George Washington. He personally is, in my estimation, the best American president. He gave that farewell address where after his first two terms as president, where he warned the country against political factions, against political parties, and it's just like how true, how prescient was that advice. And he set the standard by only serving two terms. And it
The
just
standard is the
his
standard.
story, his story, it seems fake, it seems fiction, but it's real. It's like I think he's one of the most remarkable. Not only is he one of the most remarkable Americans ever, I think he's one of the most remarkable human beings in human history. And I loved this seeing this portion of his life story, which I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised by how even as a 20-year-old, he was such a remarkable human being. I just love
Even
to
as a
see
little
it.
kid after he lost his dad, right? He was just so
Yes,
determined.
he was so determined, so
Cutting down the
ambitious.
tree at some point. He was going to walk to school.
Yeah, so hardworking. So for me, this is a truly love to see it movie. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I think you took some history classes, courses in college, no? Or am I wrong?
I did take some history, and I took AP US history in high school, and plus a lot of law school. Like I love constitutional law. I went to law school. Obviously, I'm a lawyer, so I know a lot about the founding fathers.
So speaking of history, I don't know, I apologize. But in high school, I forget when AP American history was. I think it was junior year for me.
Yeah, me too.
So my sophomore year teacher like really hated me because I was such a pain in class. So she purposely screwed me and put me on like the basic history. So there was three levels of history. So she put me in the worst one because she was teaching AP European history senior year. So she wanted no chance for me to end up in her class. So I don't have as much of an appreciation with US history, even though I'm American. European history I have a bigger appreciation for because I kicked ass junior year and I ended up being an AP Euro. So I
So
defied all odds. I ended up in AP Euro and she was so pissed. That first day I walked into the class, now I'm like, I'm here.
that's so
Um,
funny.
so what I'm trying to say here is I wasn't I mean, obviously I know who George Washington is, but it wasn't as important to me. I didn't have a personal connection, even though I'm American, this is 4th of July. I wasn't really excited to see this film because I generally don't like historical dramas and all that stuff. So for me, it was fine. It could have been better. I thought the ending, I wanted more from the ending. I feel like they were holding back, right? They're holding back for the sequel. It just and which makes sense. You want to hold back, but you never, sequel's never guaranteed at the end of the day. And you mentioned some things about being corny. Yes, there were some corny things about it. The stunt casting I didn't like. So if we're gonna have the biggest disagreement, and I think on our channel, I think
Oh,
maybe Wuthering Heights we've had a big disagreement. I don't
it wasn't.
recall.
It was only we were only 1 star. I think you gave it 1.5, and I gave it a half.
Oh, really?
Maybe you
Okay.
gave it 2.
So I'm giving this 2.5.
Oh, wow. That is the biggest disagreement.
Yeah.
I didn't see this coming at all because I thought we were kind of on the same page.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just left like, okay, great. Like, yes, I'm excited to see where this goes, but there were just too many flaws, that really took it away from me.
You hate to see it.
You
You
truly
hated to
do.
see it. Oh, man. Well, not truly.
Yeah, no, I
Not
hate it. Not truly.
just barely. Just barely.
Barely, barely.
Oh, man. Wow.
And you don't allow like 7.5s because honestly, it was like closer to 7.5. But since we don't have that in the scale, I had to go
Yeah.
down. It was either going to be 3 or 2.5, and I just went down
Well,
to two and a half.
when I initially started out, I was either at 3.5 or 4.
Okay.
But then when I started to do more research into it, and I found out that it was actually pretty historically accurate. And plus, I was just thinking, like, I had such a good time with this movie. I know I'm going to rewatch this movie. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm just giving it 4.5 because I'm thinking about other movies that
But
I've
you get
seen.
4.5? Is that what you said? Holy
I
shit!
said 4.5 because,
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm thinking of movies that I've seen recently, like Disclosure Day, that I gave
Yeah.
3.5.
Oh,
Toy
this is better
Story.
than Disclosure Day for you.
It's better than Disclosure Day. It's better than Toy Story 5. It's definitely better than Supergirl. I'm just like, yes, I should just put my stamp on it because I'm definitely going to be watching this movie more
Okay.
than any of those other movies that I just mentioned.
We've had a kind of a little downs, right? I mean, this is up for you, but there's been some bad movies recently, or not
Just kind
big,
of like mid-ish movie.
mid.
Yeah, like
Yes.
pretty good, but not like great.
Yeah. But and this year's been fantastic. But we
Yeah.
got some big guns coming up.
Well, I finally saw a movie that is maybe the most buzzworthy movie of the year, maybe next to Project Hail Mary, that I think we're going to finally review on the channel in a few
Oh, that'd be
weeks.
amazing. I can't believe you saw it, but I'm not gonna talk about it anymore.
Okay, and I'm not even going to say what it is. You can drop in the comments what you think I might be talking about.
Yes, do that.
All right,
Alrighty.
Sid, anything else to add?
Nope. What is next week?
Moana,
Oh yeah.
the live
Ugh.
action. I'm not really looking forward to that. I
Yeah, I'm
gotta
not
be
looking
honest.
forward. The card. Well, we'll save it for next week when we discuss. But I'm not looking forward to it. I'm
I
looking
think
forward
that's
to.
almost good, though. I think it's good to go in
Yeah.
with low expectations.
True.
But we'll see. We're going to talk about it next week. This was real fun to talk about young Washington with you. It's too bad that we disagreed, but actually,
No, that's
sometimes that
great.
makes for a fun conversation.
It
So,
sure does. And to conclude, you made a great point. This came out at the perfect time, 4th of July. Unfortunately, our American soccer players did not learn from their mistakes and they lost last night. So they were not heroes like George Washington.
you hate to see it.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time. Bye.